Alright guys, now we have our virtual environment in place. So the next step is to install Django. Okay, so to install Django it is pretty easy. You just have to type a pip command, then it is installed. Okay, so let me show you. It is pip space install space Django. Okay, when you hit enter, this will install the latest version of Django. Okay, so in any case, if you want to install the specific version of a Django, okay, so that time what you have to do is you just have to say equal equal, okay, two times equal, then you have to say the version of the Django you want to install. Okay, so it maybe if you want to install 3.0.8. Okay, when you hit enter it will install Django version 3.0.8. so in our case we will just install Django latest version. Okay, hit enter. Alright, it will take a little bit of time depending on the internet speed you have, so not more than 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, so let's wait for this. Alright, now the Django is installed. So you don't see anything here. It is still env here. Okay, there is no, we have not created the project yet, but we just installed the Django. Okay, so if you want to see if the Django is installed or not, just say pip space freeze. So what this pip freeze will do is it will list down all the softwares or all the packages that is installed in this environment. Okay, so let me hit enter. So as you can see, Django 3.1 is installed, which is the latest version. Okay, and this thing, PyTZ, SQL Path, and AS, all these things we did not install, but this comes with Django itself. Okay, these are the dependent packages, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay, now we have Django in place. The next step is to create a project. So let us create a Django project now. Okay, since we have installed Django inside here, so we have the access to Django, right? So we can use this Django command, Django-admin. Okay, this is the command to create a project. Okay, Django-admin start project space the project name. In our case, we will give it as my project, and then space and dot. Okay, this dot is for it will create the project inside here. Okay, with this virtual environment. So that's why if you don't put the dot, then it will create my project folder, and then it will create the project inside that my project folder. It will be a little bit messy, so that's why I personally prefer putting the dot here, so that everything will be properly arranged. All right, let me hit enter now. All right, now we have created a project. So this is the time to run our first project. All right, so I'll explain what are inside these folders and files and all those stuff. But before that, let us just run the server so that we can see the Django, welcome page. So this is how we run the server. Let's say Python space manage.py space run server. Okay, this is the command, and hit enter. Okay, now you can see watching for file changes with stat reloader. That means our server is running now. So let's go to the browser. Here you have to type in 127.0.0.1 colon 8000. Okay, so this 8000 is the port number in which the Django application runs, and this is the local host IP address. Okay, so if you are already a developer, you must be knowing this thing, this 127 local host IP address. But if you are not familiar with this, no worries, it is just a local host. That means your computer is acting as a server. All right, so that's why we can also say localhost colon 8000. Okay, so usually we do 127.0.0.1. All right, so now you have to hit enter. All right, so this is the Django welcome page. Now this is saying the install worked successfully, congratulations. Okay, so our Django application is running now. All right, so now let's get back to the folder here. So I want to walk you through these folders and files. Instead of navigating the folders and files from here, we will just open this folder from our code editor. Okay, we are using Atom. So let me open the folder here. Open folder, and where is it? I think it is here. Okay, Django Basics. Select folder. Now all the folders and files are here. Alright, so here the first thing is the manage.py file. This is the one we used while running the server, right? So what we did, Python manage.py run server. Okay, you can see here Python manage.py. This is the one. Basically, this manage.py help us to do some top level admin things. If you want to look at what all this file can do, then just go ahead to the terminal, and let's just close this. I mean, the stop the server. To stop, you just have to say Control and C. Okay, it will stop the server. All right. So now let's say Python space manage.py and hit help. Run this command. So it has listed all the sub command of manage.py. So that means you can do all this stuff using manage.py. This is actually a top level thing, and you don't ever have to edit this manage.py file unless you know what exactly you're doing. So by that time you should be an expert in Django. Okay, just let us keep this file aside. And the next one is db.sqlite3. This is basically a database file created by Django itself. So if you want to use SQLite3 database in your project, then you can use. Otherwise, if you don't want to use SQLite3, and I'll say I don't want to use SQLite3, I'll use Postgres. Then there is no use of this SQLite3. We can configure our project for the Postgres. Okay, but by default, this SQLite3 database comes with the Django installation. All right. And next one is the project level folder. Okay, this my project, what you are seeing here, this is the project level folder. And this PyCache is a little bit advanced stuff. You don't have to worry about this. We are not going to use any of these files here. Okay, so let us close this. And this init.py, as you can see, this is empty. All right, this file is empty now. Even if you delete it, it will automatically come again. So we will not delete it now, and we are not going to use this file also in our in any of the project, right? And next it is asgi.py file. Okay, so asgi means it is a asynchronous server gateway interface. It is related to the server thing. We are not going to code inside this file. Okay, so this is the pretty advanced stuff, and it comes with the Django project creations. Okay, so and this wsgi also, we are not going to touch anything. If you notice properly, these both files are same. Okay, only this asgi and wsgi is different. So the next one is settings.py file. This is the file we'll be using a lot. Okay, so here this settings.py contains all the settings of our application. So if you see this, this is the base directory of our application. This base directory is nothing but this root folder. Okay, this root folder. All right, so that's what it means. This is the technical term, but just know that this base directory is nothing but this root folder. All right, and then this is the security key. This security key is actually a private one. You should never show this code to anybody. Okay, but in my case I'm showing this to you guys because this is just a test project, right? So I don't mind if you see this security key, but make sure you never show this to anybody when you deploy your site inside the server. All right, so if you ever think that somebody knows this secret key, you can come here and change this key. All right, so that's how it works. And next one is, this is the debug. This is the pretty important setting in Django. Okay, so let me show you why we turned it on. Okay, that means why this debug equal to true here. So when I go to this Django application here, whenever we get the error, let me show you one error. Okay, so test. Okay, we don't have the test test page. So what it will do is, Wait, I think this server is not running. Let me run this python manage.py run server. Okay. All right. Now let me refresh. All right. Now as you can see, this page not found, and this is showing us using URL conf project.urls. All these things are actually a private thing, right? This is about the code, right? We are not supposed to show the code to anybody unless you are a developer, right? So if you are the one who is developing this site, then it is fine. You have to turn this on. When you set this debug equal to true, you can see this page not found and error code and all this request method, then request URL, and this is the my project.url. All these things can be shown when the debug equal to true. But why this debug equal to true by default is because we are developing this application in the development server, not production server. You can also see the security warning here. Don't run with debug turned on in production. Okay, why this is showing like this? It is because when in the production server, your site is accessible to everyone, right? So in case anything happens in your website, then when the debug equal to true, then it will show the code to the users. Okay, so that's not cool, right? That is not good. Like security wise, it is not good. So what if the user is the hacker? Then he will see all the code, right, from his browser only. He will see the code, and it will be easy to hack your website if you want. Right? That is not right. That's why we always prefer using debug equal to true inside the development server, and when it goes to the production server, then you have to set debug equal to false. That's all. Okay. And then next comes is allowed host. So this is the list of allowed host, list of allowed domains. So here you have to say mydomain.com. Okay, if you want to run this application in another domain, mynextdomain.com. Okay, like this it works. So this is for the production, production server. So in the development server, you don't have to write anything to inside this allowed host. All right, and then next it is installed apps. I'll come to the apps in the next video. Okay, so the next will be, it is a middleware. This middleware is actually a pretty advanced stuff in Django, and it is auto generated by the Django project. Okay, so you will use this when we are sending the application to the production server, but you don't have to worry about this since we are learning the Django basics here. This is the advanced stuff, so we can just learn this later. All right. So the next one is the root URL config. Okay, this is actually the URL file. Okay, here what you're seeing here, this is the one, and this is our project name. Okay, this is the path of that root URL config. If you want to use this thing inside your anywhere in the project, then you can just use this one. All right. So that's how it works. And the next one is, this is the template, and we are going to use the template in our in this tutorial also. I will explain you what exactly is template. This is basically a HTML and CSS thing, Bootstrap also you can use. Totally it is a the user facing front end, right? You don't have to edit this thing, but just keep in mind this is the template. But while we are using the templates like HTML pages, then we have to send the template name here. Okay, so I will show you that later. All right, so this is the WSGI application. Again, this is the server thing, so we are not doing anything with this. And here this is the place where we configure databases. All right, so currently it is db.sqlite3. Here this is the engine. So if you are using Postgres, then we have to change this from SQLite3 to Postgres. All right. If you are using SQLite3 only, then you don't have to do anything. But for this tutorial, we're using SQLite3 only. Okay. But I have a advanced project in my Udemy account. So if you want to learn that after this course, then you can just go ahead and learn that, where I have used the Postgres database, okay, which is a very cool thing, and I think you should try that. Anyways, so the next thing, it is auth password validators, and these are the password validation things. It comes in when we are doing something about login and registrations. The next one, this is a language code. Here you can set English US, and if you don't want to use English US, then you can say different language. Okay, and this is the time zone and all those basic stuff. And here this is the static URL. Okay, so I have a dedicated lecture for this static files, so I will explain you about this there. Okay. All right. So the next thing is we have this urls.py file. This is the very important file. Okay. This file is responsible for navigating the whole project. Okay, the whole Django application. So any request which comes from the browser will first comes to this urls.py file. From here, we will decide where to send that request. Okay. So that's about this file structures, and don't worry if it is too much to understand right now, but eventually you will understand all these files. Okay, when you start playing around these files, then it will be very easy for you guys. All right, so that's it now. Thank you.